Have you ever stopped to think about how weird trading is? I mean, on the surface, it's so simple, right? You just click a button. But actually being consistent with it, well, that can feel almost impossible. And that's because the real challenge isn't in the mechanics, it's all in your head. Let's really get into why that is.
So let me pose a question that comes from the legendary work of Mark Douglas. What if the very act of trying so hard to win is actually the thing that's guaranteeing you'll lose? I know, it sounds completely backward, but stick with me because wrapping your head around this one idea is the absolute key to everything. And you can see the difference right here. On one side, you've got the pro. They're in the flow, kind of like a great athlete or a jazz musician just improvising. They just see what's happening and act. No internal fight. Then you've got the struggling trader, sweating, staring at the screen, clicking like a maniac. They're agonizing over every single decision, just full of resistance and anxiety. The difference isn't their chart setup. It's what's going on between their ears. And that leads us to the core truth of all of this. You're not going to find consistency in some new indicator or a secret trading system you buy online. Real consistency is a state of mind. It's not something you learn, it's something you achieve. It's about fundamentally changing how you think, not just finding a new way to trade.
Okay, so if it's a state of mind we're after, how in the world do we get there? Well, it all starts by facing this huge illusion that almost every trader falls for. We've got to take a hard look at our relationship with risk, because I guarantee it's not what you think it is.
This quote from Mark Douglas just cuts right to the heart of it. Putting on a trade is not the same thing as accepting the risk. See, we all think that just by clicking the buy or sell button, we've automatically accepted the risk. But Douglas makes it clear. The physical act of entering a trade is a world away from the psychological act of truly accepting what might happen.
So what does it even mean to truly accept the risk? It means you are 100% genuinely okay with every single possible outcome, whether it's a huge win, a tiny win, a break even, or hitting your stop loss for a full loss. And you're okay with it before you even put the trade on. It's this place of total emotional neutrality, where fear and hope just disappear.
And here is the tiny but absolutely fatal mistake most traders make. They go into a trade secretly assuming, or at least desperately hoping, that this one is gonna be a winner. They haven't actually made peace with the very real, very normal possibility of being wrong. This little failure, this refusal to accept the potential loss, is the first domino that's about to set off a total disaster.
Because the moment you enter a trade without truly accepting the risk, you wake up a saboteur that's been hiding in your own mind. You trigger this subconscious protective mechanism that, is super helpful for keeping you safe in everyday life, but in trading, it's an absolute catastrophe. Let's call it the fear-error cycle. Here's how it works. Step 1, you enter a trade with that little seed of fear. Step 2, the market moves against you, even a little bit, and that fear just explodes. Step 3, your brain, trying to protect you from the pain of being wrong, literally starts blocking information. It hides the data that suggests you should get out. And Step 4, you make massive errors. You're basically flying blind, ignoring all the warning signs the market is screaming at you. Think about those errors for a second. Moving your stop loss, taking a revenge trade, freezing up when you should act. They all have one thing in common. They yank you right out of what Douglas calls the now moment opportunity flow. You are no longer reacting to what the market is actually doing. Nope. You're lost in your own head, drowning in a sea of what-ifs and should-haves. You're completely disconnected from the reality of the chart in front of you. All right, so if trying harder is the problem, what on earth is the solution? This is where we make the turn. This is how we get from a mindset of frantic trying to one of effortless flowing with whatever the market gives us. See, the problem is that we approach the market trying to get something from it. We're trying to get profits, sure, but we're also trying to get certainty, to get validation, to prove that we're right. This creates a battle. You're trying to force your will on this massive impersonal force of nature. And guess what? That is a fight you will lose 100% of the time. The solution is to flip the entire script. Instead of trying to get something, you simply make yourself available for whatever the market is willing to offer you. You're not forcing anything. You become a calm, detached observer, just waiting patiently, ready to act when your predefined edge appears, with zero struggle, zero resistance. And you know what's wild? The moment that internal war ends, the moment you stop fighting yourself, everything becomes, Easy. That clarity you've been desperately searching for in books and courses and new indicators, it was inside you the whole time, just buried under all that conflict. Okay, let's bring it all home with the final and maybe the most important lesson of all. It's a lesson the market is going to teach you, believe me, one way or another. It's all about finally getting your mind right. To explain this, Mark Douglas uses this incredible analogy from the old movie Cool Hand Luke. Now, in the film, the main character, Luke, is this defiant prisoner who just will not break. So the guards punish him over and over. And after every single beating, they don't ask if he's learned his lesson. They ask him just one thing.
Have you got your mind right yet, Luke? See, their goal wasn't just to inflict pain. It was to break his internal resistance. It was to force him to finally accept the reality of his situation. And this is exactly what the market does to us.
The market is those guards. It's this relentless, impersonal teacher. It doesn't care about your PhD or your analysis or how badly you need this trade to work. It will just keep beating you, financially and emotionally, again and again, until you finally surrender, until you stop trying to conquer it and just learn to flow with it. So how do we do it? How do we finally get our minds right? Here's the roadmap. First, give up trying to be right on every trade. That's not your job. Your job is to execute your edge flawlessly over time. Second, you have to genuinely, truly accept the risk before you put on the trade. This is what breaks that fear-error cycle. Third, you got to see the market for what it is, just a stream of information, not what you hope or fear it's going to be. And from there, you can finally shift from forcing to flowing. When you do all that, you end the war inside your own head, and that is the only way to find consistency out here in the market. So in the end, the path to winning isn't about finding a better strategy, it's about adopting a better mindset. It's about ending the fight. And so the real question you have to ask yourself is this: are you ready to stop fighting the market? And more importantly, are you ready to stop fighting yourself?